Talk, shop, pop, movies.
In the current age of the preferential ballot at the Academy Awards, the Best Screenplay categories correlate with Best Picture far more than Best Director does. But in the decades prior to that, Best Director and Best Picture went together like peanut butter and jelly. It was almost a certainty that if your film won Best Director, you were guaranteed to win Best Picture as well. So logically, if your film won Best Screenplay and Best Director, you'd be guaranteed to win Best Picture, right? Well, apparently not. In this video, I will be going over the 8 times in the 94 years of the Oscar history where a film won Best Director and Best Writing, but failed to win Best Picture. Oddly enough, the very first time this happened was at the very first Academy Awards. 1927, a little movie called Seventh Heaven was released that managed to win 3 Oscars, including writing and directing, obviously, and Best Lead Actress, but it failed to win Best Picture against the now, famous first-time Best Picture winner ever, Wings, which only won one other Oscar for its engineering effects, so essentially a special effects Oscar at that time. For our second entry, we jump ahead just a few years to 1931. The film Bad Girl won only 2 awards for its writing and directing and lost its 3rd nomination for Best Picture. There wasn't as many categories back then, so a movie getting just 3 nominations is still kind of a lot, if you catch my drift. But its final Best Picture nomination, which it lost, went to Grand Hotel, which is known for being the only film to win Best Picture where its only nomination was for Best Picture. Never again has this happened, and rightfully so. I think it's the weirdest thing in the world that a film could only get nominated for Best Picture and manage to win that award. I could see a movie just getting nominated for Best Picture in the 10 Best Picture nominee fields we have nowadays. It would be weird, but it seems possible. But for a movie back then to only get a Best Picture nomination and manage to win against a film that won for its writing and directing seems kind of weird. Once again, we jump ahead only 4 years to 1931. The film that won Best Directing and Best Writing that year was The Informer. It also won for its score and Best Lead Actor. So a movie nowadays winning 4 Oscars, those 4, is a solid package. But yet again, due to the preferential ballot, which was active during this time period, the only year, actually, I'm talking about where there is a preferential ballot involved for Best Picture, it managed to lose Best Picture to Mutiny on the Bounty, which is definitely a more famous film. It is in the AFI Top 100, but similar to Grand Hotel, not just like it, but similar. Mutiny on the Bounty had an impressive 8 nominations, but the only award it won was for Best Picture. A movie that wins 4 Oscars, including its writing and directing and lead actor, should all but be guaranteed to win Best Picture, but apparently not. So that is a goofy scenario. And to my knowledge, I tried to look into it as best I could. I didn't find anything else. That was the final movie to win only Best Picture. And hopefully it stays that way because that is absurd. Jumping ahead a little bit to 1948, a little movie that some people have heard of called Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Yet another AFI Top 100 classic starring Humphrey Bogart, won Best Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Supporting Actor. So the Hustons had a very good night because John Huston wrote and directed the film, and I believe his father, Walter Huston, won Supporting Actor. But yet, despite winning those 3 very major awards, it lost Best Picture. It lost to Laurence Olivier's Shakespearean masterpiece, Hamlet. I honestly haven't seen Olivier's Hamlet. I'm not going to crap on it or anything like that. I'm sure it's great, but outside of him winning Best Actor along with winning Best Picture for it, the film had several nominations. It won in craft categories, like for its costumes and art direction. But the weirdest thing about it is that it failed to even be nominated for its adapted screenplay. And ever since then, anything based on anything Shakespearean just does not get nominated for adapted screenplay. It's kind of funny. It's a thing. Look into it. Tragedy Macbeth last year, written by Joel Cohen, who almost always gets nominated for screenplays when he's in the conversation, failed to get nominated for that film. West Side Story is probably the thing that comes the closest, having been a adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. And out of all 11 nominees it had, the only one it lost was for screenplay. So it's a thing. The Oscars hate William Shakespeare, apparently, except for 1998 when Shakespeare in Love won, but that's a whole different story. The very next year, 1949, Letter to Three Wives won Best Writing and Directing, but failed to win its Best Picture nomination. Yet again, as is the pattern in this video, that's the whole subject, right? It failed to win its Best Picture nomination against All the King's Men, which won for its lead actor and supporting actress. But like I said, no writing and directing. But still, a respectable package. 3 above the line wins. You can't sneeze at that too hard. All those happened within pretty quick succession within one another. They're all a few years apart, or in some cases 1 year apart, like the last 2 examples. In this case, a impressive 51 years went by before this happened again, and that would be the year 2000. Traffic. Everyone likes Traffic, right? Steven Soderbergh's modern, crime masterpiece ensemble thing. Whatever. It won Best Director for Steven Soderbergh. He was nominated also for Aaron Brockovich the same year, but they were smart and focused all their energy towards Traffic, and it worked out in the end. It won for its screenplay. It won for Benicio del Toro for Best Supporting Actor, and it won for Best Film Editing. Nowadays, if a movie wins writing and directing, an acting award, and film editing, it's damn sure going to win Best Picture, but it didn't happen, oddly enough. In fact, Best Picture was its only nomination. It did not win. It lost to a tech sweeper, not even a sweeper, just a tech juggernaut, I call it. It was nominated in 11 tech categories, won 5 Oscars, including Best Picture, of course. And its lead actor, Russell Crowe. I'm talking about Gladiator, yes. In hindsight, you can't really argue that Gladiator won Best Picture. I like the movie a lot, most people do. But this video is kind of about the movies that should have probably won Best Picture. And like I always say, if a movie wins screenplay and director, it probably should win Best Picture, regardless of how good its visual effects are, which it won for, or its sound mixing, all that kind of stuff. If this would have happened today, I absolutely guarantee you Traffic would have won that year. 2 years later, it happens again, 2002. This one was a little more of a surprise. It's sort of 2 of these 3 awards, at least, were moderate surprises at the time. The Pianist. I'll say that again. The Pianist, directed by Roman Polanski, who was kind of a surprise Best Director winner for this. If you know, you know. Google it. But it's a fantastic movie. It also won for its screenplay, obviously. And it won probably one of the most shocking acting wins of all time for the youngest Best Actor winner to this day, Adrian Brody, for the lead role in The Pianist, against the much more expected Jack Nicholson in About Schmidt or Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York. So that was a cool surprise win. And he went on stage and he kissed Halle Berry, and it was really awkward, but everyone was happy for him. Yes, The Pianist lost its Best Picture nomination to yet another tech sweeper that seemed destined to win Best Picture this year, and it happened. It was obvious. I predicted it even 20 years ago when I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. Chicago. I love Chicago. I'm not going to argue that it didn't deserve to win Best Picture that year at all. It at least got nominated for directing and all that jazz. No pun intended, actually. That was a convenient unintended joke. But yeah, it won for its supporting actress, Catherine Zeta-Jones, its film editing, which is a big one, its sound mixing, because it's a musical, of course, and its art direction and its costumes. This was a tech sweeper like no other. The funny thing is nowadays, tech sweepers usually take the directing award, as opposed to the writing award. Only one more time this happened after this, and it was kind of a doozy. The 8th and final time this happened was only a couple years later again, in 2005. One of the most complained about Best Picture losses of all time, I guess. Yes, Brokeback Mountain. Yeah, we all know where this is going, right? It won for its directing for Ang Lee, its adapted screenplay, and its score. Beautiful original score of that movie. It lost Best Picture to the movie that didn't even get nominated for Best Picture at the Golden Globes, for God's sake. Crash. I like Crash. I'm not going to crap on it too much. It shoves its messages down your throat a little too hard for my liking upon rewatches, but it's not a bad movie. You know, it gets more crap than it deserves, I'll say that. This is kind of a gray area because Crash did actually win original screenplay while Brokeback Mountain won adapted, but it did not win director, and that's what we're talking about. It's the combination. It's the should-be unbeatable combination of writing and directing that should lead to a guaranteed Best Picture win, and that did not happen. But Crash did get a respectable 3 Oscars as well, including its writing and its film editing, which is a very big one, and then its Best Picture win. So it's been 17 years since this has happened. It's probably going to happen again, but who knows when. But that is honestly why I thought of this video in the first place, is because this year seems like a year that it might actually happen. I doubt it will. But there is a few scenarios that I could see happening. If you take what are the presumed 3 frontrunners this award season, which are Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Banshees of Inisherin, and Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans, I could see Best Picture going any direction. I could see Everything Everywhere All at Once shocking everyone and sweeping all 3 categories, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit, because it is a very interesting screenplay, and it's directed very, very well. Like, the attention to detail in this movie is ridiculous, and that's the kind of thing that should win Best Directing, and because of those 2, it should win Best Picture, as I've been saying. Banshees of Inisherin, I could easily see taking at least original screenplay away from Everything Everywhere All at Once, leaving it a very good director picture win. And then you got The Fabelmans. Will any of these weird scenarios actually happen? I highly doubt it. Who knows what's going to happen this year? Only time will tell. But I just thought I'd actually do a video that made me think I'd have to do a little research. It's been a while. So please like, share, and subscribe. I've got more award season coverage coming, and maybe a few more videos like this where I just like to talk about random bullshit about Oscars history. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Shop, pop, movies.